Hey everyone, welcome to Adventures in Everyday Cooking, where every day can be an adventure in your kitchen. My name is Heather, and today we're gonna make a depression cake. Now, if you've never heard of this cake before, it uses no butter, no milk, no eggs. How on earth can you make a cake with no butter, no milk, and no eggs? Well, during the Depression, they were out those basic ingredients, so they developed a recipe that uses baking soda and vinegar for the leavening. So, if you're ready to do this extremely easy and very cheap, the whole cake costs about $2.35 to make, and it's all pantry staples. If you're ready for this, let's get started. What you're gonna need is 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/3 cup of cooking oil, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of water. For the chocolate icing, you're gonna need 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3 tablespoons of water, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is get your oven preheating to 350. Also, I went ahead and put a piece of parchment paper in the bottom of my 9x9 pan because I want to be able to lift it out a little easier. I thought about maybe putting it all the way through the pan so I can get it out, but I'm just gonna let it go. It is a nonstick pan, so I should be okay. All right, first thing we're gonna do is put together all the dry ingredients. So we're gonna put in the flour, the sugar, the salt and the baking soda, and the cocoa. And we're gonna give that a good mix. All right, once it looks like hot chocolate, we're gonna combine the 1 cup of water with the vinegar and the vanilla. And we're gonna give that a very good mix. Next, and in order, we want to add the oil. Then we're gonna mix that up. And then as it starts to kind of get hard to do, then we're gonna add our water mixture. All right, now we are gonna mix this until most of the lumps are gone. Make sure you scrape your bowl. Perfect, look at that. Okay, now we're gonna get it right into the pan and right into the oven. All right, and we're gonna give the cake a couple taps on our counter, and then we're gonna get it into the oven 350 for 35 minutes. Okie doke, the cake is out and it is all cooled. It looks fantastic. I realized when I was scraping off my spatula, got a little bit of the hardness, which is why there's a little bubble in the cake. See the little bubble? It's fine. The icing will cover it. Okay, in a bowl, we're gonna put our powdered sugar, our cocoa powder, and then we're gonna give it a little stir. Actually, I'm gonna use my whisk. And then we're gonna put in our vanilla. And then a little bit at a time, we're gonna add our water until we get a pourable consistency. All right, and if you add in all of your water and you still feel like you need a little bit more, make sure you put just a little at a time more. And I think I do want a tiny bit more because I want it to be pouring consistency. So add a teeny bit. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and tap this off, and I'm gonna swap to my spatula here, my scraper. I don't know. I used to call these things spatulas whenever I was younger. I don't know what they're actually called. Now, onto this cake, we are gonna pour our icing. Now, it is very important that your cake be completely cooled before you do this. And if you make your icing too early, it will harden. So keep all those things in mind and go ahead and pour your icing right on the top of your cake, and we're gonna spread it out. So if it was not cooled, this would just melt into a puddle on the sides of this cake. So make sure it's cool. I'm gonna switch to a little spreader, spread that. And you have to spread it quickly or else it will start to get a crust on it. and it will dry. And then you'll run your spatula or your spreader through it and you'll just make lines of frosting. Do you know what I'm saying? Words, they're hard. All right, now we're just gonna let that sit for a little bit for the crust to get hard. All right, and after about 5 minutes, we have, our icing is totally set. It is totally ready to eat. Now, this recipe makes obviously a 9 by 9, and that's about 9 pieces or 2 pieces if you're that person. But I will go ahead and cut this into, I was thinking about cutting it into like 12 pieces, but I just want a good piece to come out. So, I'll just do thirds. It's fine. Look at that. Do you see the crunchy icing? Yeah. And I'm using my nylon knife so I don't scrape my pan. There's nothing worse than scraping a nonstick pan. Almost reminds me of a Texas sheet cake, if you guys have ever had one of those. Those are large pieces of cake. Whew, I should have gone with 12. Now, let's get one of these out. Oh yeah. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that cake. Can you believe there's no eggs or butter or milk in that? What? Let's taste it. Let's make sure that it's fantastic. The icing fascinates me because when you usually do icing, you put in butter and milk, and this looks just like icing, only there's no butter or milk. So, the icing is very rich. It's only sugar and cocoa powder, and those two together, they kind of offset each other. So that like it's really sweet, but yet it has that cocoa-y hit as well. And it really tastes good with the cake itself. My cake is still a little warm too. So it's extra delicious. That's probably why it kind of funked up right there. It's fine. It's fine. But this is really great. Isn't that cool? You can make a cake without eggs, milk, or butter with most everything that you already have in your pantry. Do it. You should do it. And it's so good. It's not too sweet. It's not obviously like a traditional cake. It's a little, let's see if we can get a little closer so I can show you. It is a little denser, but it is not like bread. I don't know if you can see that in the close camera. It's still light and fluffy, but it's not as light and fluffy as cake, like one with an egg in it. Duh. But it's still light and fluffy, but it's more like the texture of a cakey brownie. Actually, that's what I would call it. It's like a cakey brownie, but more cakey than a brownie. Way more moist than a cakey brownie. It's just a little bit denser of a cake. It's very good. I'm gonna eat the whole piece. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed that video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. I do videos about every part of the cooking adventure, so if you want to join me, I hope to see you then. All right, bye. And yes, I will finish all of this. Someone's running downstairs for cake right now. Someone who is dairy-free. I want some cake. Bethy's coming for cake.